Hey, what's up? This is Davinci Neptune. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Peacock woman. This is a certain type of woman that you want to avoid at all costs. These women are generally toxic. The positive trait of what a peacock represents is excellence, perfection. But the negatives is vanity, ego, a high sense of grandiose, narcissism. The peacock is generally associated with narcissism. So the peacock women are like usually the women who try so hard to stand out and get attention. That's what the peacock represents. The peacock represents attention in a mesmerizing and beautiful way. But the shadow end of it is where you're trying so hard for attention, you're trying so hard to look superior than everyone else that it causes a very discomfort in everyone's experience. If you ever met one of these people, it's not really a positive experience because it's like they talk in a way that tends to put you down. And when you around the peacock women, you feel worse. Like you feel like ill. Usually these type of women are not even living their reality. They're living in a fantasy world where they are some type of peacock or they're some type of queen where they are really, really superior and above it all and more important. But the truth of reality is, they're just like everyone else. They're, they breathe, they take up space, they take up matter in our physical reality. Now, okay, but right or wrong doesn't really matter because your mindset will create what kind of reality that you experience. So, it doesn't even matter if it's, right or wrong. It's a mindset thing. But with these type of women, they have a certain kind of energy and vibe to them that tends to be very toxic, very manipulative, and it's very, very cringy. The word I would say is unhealthy, unmature. These are the words that I would describe the peacock women, where they're not mature for a real relationship. They have a, they have problems being vulnerable. They have issues with human relationships. These kinds of people, the peacock usually has ego issues where maybe in the past they weren't accepted, they weren't loved for who they are. So they fractured their ID and their identity to create a sort of persona or part of them that is superior to compensate for the feeling of inferiority, powerlessness, despair, and hopelessness. Because these people don't feel important, and generally these type of people weren't appreciated by the people in their lives. So the peacock woman compensates by creating a fantasy world where they are superior than everyone else, where they are more important than everyone else. And this is shown by their body language and the way they speak. The way they speak is very like high class, very elegant, but is done in a way of I'm better than you. And when you interact with them, it's very cringy, very like it's not a positive human experience when you interact with these type of women. And, in fact, maybe they are, maybe they're famous, maybe they're important, but that's not the way that you conduct yourself in a healthy social setting. It's not right. Let's just say that. It's just not very healthy. The peacock woman is a woman that you want to avoid. Secretly, what they desire is to be seen. They want someone to finally see them, to finally appreciate them, appreciate who they are. But they have problems with being vulnerable. So they live in the fantasy world of that which they wish they were, that which they desire to be. Because in the fantasy world, you can create yourself and recreate yourself according to whatever you desire. But the peacock woman has ego issues and also has people issues, trust issues, vulnerability issues. These are women that are very hard to connect with because they're neither here nor they're there. They're in the fantasy world, but they're not in the present reality. So what their needs and wants that they're trying to fulfill, they're going about it in a way to avoid reality itself. And because they're avoiding reality, they're not making the type of connection. They're not finding people who appreciates or loves them because it's kind of like a coping mechanism. Because I feel insecure, because I feel inferior, because I feel unimportant, I compensate and portray this identity that I am important in hopes that people will see me as important. But this kind of vibration, this kind of energy actually repels the kind of thing that they want, which is love and acceptance. And this is why the Peacock women don't do very well in human relationships because they are very me centric, they're very I centric, they're very narcissistic, they're very selfish. But on a psychological level, these people really desire to be seen, they desire a friend. That's what they really want. So a lot of times these type of women are very lonely, because they don't have anyone to really want to interact with them in a real way as a friend. But also they don't have anyone who is psychologically at their level to kind of diffuse them of their, the little games that they're playing. Because what they really want is a loving relationship, a connection, to be seen, to be felt, to be heard, to be appreciated for maybe their greatness, for their brilliance, or their beauty even, but in a genuine way. But they created this blockage, this identity of this part of being the peacock, the narcissism, which repels the very thing that they desire, which is love, connection, appreciation, acceptance. Because when you're talking to people in a certain way, where you're talking down to people, where you're talking as if you're superior than other people, people will not find comfort in this. People will rebuke this. They will not, you're pretty much saying that you are more superior than the other person, which will make the other person pretty much backlash. It kind of creates like a fight. It's kind of what it is, kind of like a fight. You slap me in the face, so I'm gonna slap you back. So that's kind of what these types of women create is kind of effect of I'm superior to you, but what it does is that it hurts the egos of other people. And these type of women generally act like they don't care, like, very snotty, stuck up. But again, deep inside, when you go inside the psychology of these women and what their emotional needs are, one, they conduct it in a way that's not appropriate, and in a way that they're not getting their needs met. But two, it's a fake persona. It's a cover up, is what it is. It's not the real authentic self of who that person is. It's a defense mechanism, it's a coping mechanism. It's kind of like a top. It's like an overlay on top of their real self. You can think of it as a protector self, a defender self. It's like who they show reality that they are. But once again, they are secretly desiring connection. They're secretly desiring a friend, someone that they can be vulnerable with, someone that they can be themselves in a real way. But because the peacock has struggled, has problems with being vulnerable and accepting themselves, they never find the type of people who actually appreciate them for who they really are. So they never are seen. So they're kind of like invisible. They always kind of stay hovering around between realities, between the fantasy, the reality, never finding the right people for them. That's all I got for you on the Peacock Woman. This is a woman that you want to avoid. Now, as a disclaimer, sometimes you may find these type of women and you may want to do them the favor of being their friend and helping them to get out of this kind of situation that they're in. And this is a individual decision that you have to make. As a general rule of thumb, I will recommend that you avoid these type of women though. For more tips and strategies, visit me on prosperitylife.com. And thank you for listening.